Oh, we're live, and I saw it this time.
Yay.
Ah.
It
Hi,
worked.
it worked. It worked. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Live on the Mighty. My name is AnnMarie, and I am part of a project. Well, I started a project called What Would You Miss? And it is about how to save a life, basically. And I am with my buddy Gabe, who is going to tell about himself. Oh, that one.
I'm over here. Hi. Oh, balls. There you are. Hi. I'm Gabe, and I'm the founder, I guess, of an Instagram account called Love Bug Trumps Hate, where I spread a message of hope and suicide awareness with my best four-wheeled friend, a Herbie the Love Bug replica that has the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number all over the rear window. I use the car to generate conversations about mental health and suicide and its prevention, and educate people and spread a smile or two while I'm at it. So
And you
that's
do spread you do. Neither one of us can talk
we
today,
should
so
just
this should
stop this
be
right now.
This should be quite interesting. You do spread a smile. That's a tongue twister.
Spread a smile.
That's
I
hard to
can't
say.
say it again,
Hello,
but
we
yeah.
have two people that are saying hello to us.
Hi,
I don't
Lori.
have my glasses on, so Gabe's
Lori
gonna
and
tell us.
Nafi,
Lori and
thanks.
Nafi, so
Thanks
glad
for
that you were.
joining.
Yes. So, as my teapot is brewing over there,
Got
um,
mine.
I today we are going to talk about saving a life and what the heck does that mean? And can it be done is really part of my question. But I want to start it out, Gabe, if you don't mind. I want to share what I did this month, and I think it's really super important. So I was asked by a friend of mine who teaches health at a local high school if I could come in and talk about shared experiences. She had done a unit on depression and suicide, and she wanted someone to come in to talk about, depression and suicide from somebody who is living through it. So I went in and I talked to about probably over 150 students in the 10th grade class. I was real. I was raw. I did not lecture. I did not read from a script. I spoke straight from my heart, shared some very intense parts of my childhood about my teenage years, where I am now, how I got here, and what would you miss. Educated on depression, anxiety, PTSD, self-harm, suicidal ideations, all of it. I had 90 minutes with each class, so it's a good chunk of time. So afterwards, students listened, partly because the teacher was like, stay off your phones, get your earbuds out, put your hoods down. I want your full attention. This is important. That is true. But they were listening and I was watching the room. And Gabe, I'll be honest, like sometimes it was hard because I could see myself in some of the students. I could see this girl fidgeting and she was playing with her shoes. And I know why she was doing that because I'm sure that what I was saying was hitting home to her. But bigger than that, students left the class, went to the counseling office, said that they needed help. Students went to their parents, admitted for the first time that they're living with depression, suicidal thoughts. They talked to friends that they knew were struggling. It made an impact on this little school in my little town, um, because I shared my story. It wasn't about me saying to them, depression is blah, 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 blah. It was about me standing there telling them what I was doing at 15. And it wasn't, studying for my biology exam. It was partying and, smoking weed on the football field. It wasn't, I didn't censor anything. My point in saying all this is because I know everybody does not have a story. I get that. But people do. And listening to stories does actually save lives. It actually, I watched it happen for those 2 days I was there. Every time I came back in, a teacher would come up to me or the principal and say, I just want to let you know another student came down to the office. I just want you to know we got a call. And I was getting messages from parents telling me, I didn't even know my kid was suffering. Students, instead of doing things they're thankful about around the Thanksgiving table, went around and talked about things that they would miss. I mean, they actually listened. The amount, and then they wrote me letters. And I mean, every student wrote a letter. Sure, the teacher told them to do it. I get that. But their words, some of them were very short and sweet. Some of them were, now I understand what my sister's going through. Now I can help my friend who I know has been struggling. I finally told my parents that I've been cutting myself. Like it was real. They also told me that I was absolutely cool and totally fabulous, which, I really loved a lot. My point is sharing your story is really critical to saving a life.
So I'm so glad that you did that, AnnMarie, and I'm those students and the staff. Like, I don't want to leave them out too. They're
No.
very, very lucky that you were there because, first of all, those staff members have children of their own. Some of them, those staff members, a lot of them are probably struggling. I just read an article today that there are teachers resigning left and right because of the toxic environment in schools, because of school shootings, because of fears of school shootings. We've got this
Yeah.
TikTok challenge today that I got an email about
Yeah.
because I have 10-year-old twins. There's a police presence at their school today.
Which is
So
scary.
it is scary, but like, teachers have had it. So they're at risk the same as the students are at risk. And it's really important that they were there to hear you. So in addition to the stuff that I do with my Herbie, I'm the editor-in-chief of OC87 Recovery Diaries, and it's a mental health online storytelling platform. So we publish personal essays by folks with depression, with schizophrenia, with bipolar, anxiety disorder, people who have had experiences with suicidality, with attempts. When I get mired in the kind of day-to-day aspect of running the site and all of that stuff, and sometimes I forget exactly what you said, that telling your story has a lot of power, and telling your story has the ability to help someone else not feel alone. So it's pretty it's a pretty powerful thing when you become vulnerable, when you allow yourself to be fragile. And that I liken it to the eggshell thing. So we're all in kind of these little eggs, right? And everyone's kind of bottled up, and they've got trauma from their past, and they've got pressures from work, and they've got financial issues, and they might have addiction issues, and it's all building up inside this eggshell, right? And people, for whatever reason, they're scared to come out. They just need someone to tap, tap, tap on that eggshell and say, hey, it's okay. It's okay to come out. You can talk about this. You can come forward. And it's extremely important that we recognize that power that we have to go up to someone and just tap, tap, tap.
Mm-hmm.
You can, it's safe. It's okay. And we've had some people in the comments disclose that they're having thoughts of suicide. Okay, and what I want to tell you is, first of all, if you are having thoughts, if you feel like you're a danger to yourself or someone else, you need to be reaching out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 1-800-273-8255, or text HOME to 741-741. That's extremely important. We are not here to save your life today. That's not what that's not what this is about.
Right.
You are here to do that for yourself by reaching out, saying something here. That's a lovely first start. Then you need to take action to really help yourself further and get connected to someone who can intervene.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AnnMarie. Sorry.
No. I wanted to put the link to OC87 Recovery Diaries. That's why I was on there. And I
Oh,
think
thanks.
what you said just now is really important. We are not here to save anybody. However, just writing you are having suicidal thoughts is pretty powerful. You took that first step. Now the next step is to get help. And there are resources in your community. There's the text line that we just popped up, and also just listening. Part of what I was discussing at these schools is, when I was 15, I didn't think anybody else was thinking what I was thinking. I thought everybody else is so freaking happy. They're playing their sports. They're going out with their girlfriends, their boyfriends. They're going to prom. They're doing this. They're doing that. And I'm sitting here suffering. I did not know that. I did not know other people were having thoughts that I have. That alone helps you get through your suicidal thoughts, knowing that you're not alone, and normalizing it. Normalizing that when we get frustrated, when we get overwhelmed, when our depression seeps in, our brain starts playing those tricks on us, telling us that the only way out is suicide, that we're a burden, that our existence annoys everybody, that everything we do is a failure. That's our brain playing, our depression playing tricks on us. And one thing that I think is so profound, and I ended everything with this, and I think it needs to be said in this chat right now because people are commenting. You don't want to die. You don't want to die. You want that pain to end. And I had like this epiphany of an analogy. And, when you have mental pain, emotional pain, nobody can see it, right? Nobody can see it. So no one asks you how you are because you put up a facade, you put up a mask, you're doing whatever. When you break your leg, everyone's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" When you're in chemo and you're bald, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on with you?" When you're, whatever, you have, a skin, whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. But mental health is invisible, and it's more invisible than my MS to me. Because if I'm in a flare, you might see me limping, you might see me using my cane. That's a notification that something's going on with me. But it's really hard to wear your emotional feelings out there. It's almost impossible. So that internal pain, you want to be seen so bad, and you want people to see it. And we think suicide's the answer, but that's not the answer. We just have to find ways to help us handle that emotional pain.
So, and that's a really important point. And I love the analogy about the broken, whatever, having broken a couple bones in school. Like in middle school and high school, it's so funny. So you go in the first day and you've got the cast and someone comes up to you, "Oh my God, what happened?" And you tell the story. And then you turn around and someone else, "Oh my God, what happened?" And you tell the story and you tell the story and you tell the story and you tell the story. With mental illness and with suicide, and I really want to put those in separate things because mental illness does not equate suicide. Okay. Not everybody who takes their own life has a mental health condition. And I think we often do ourselves a disservice when we lump those two together. But when you tell your story, when you have that invisible illness, like you said, AnnMarie, and it is invisible, you are really empowering yourself. And you are really letting other people know it's okay for you to tell your story. I'm doing it. It's okay for you to do it too. The other thing, I love that we're talking about this as an invisible illness because I think even still in 2021, as we're moving into 2022, there are people who believe still that there is a look.
I believe the children are our future. Did you think I was not going to sing once this whole time?
That time already? I got to
like
run.
12 minutes. Okay, go. Yeah.
No, that this has a look, that there is a look to someone who's suicidal. Oh, it's the pale kid with the dark hair, and they listen to Enya or whatever the fuck, whatever.
Nobody
What I'm saying?
listens to Anya anymore.
It's Enya, not Anya, but that's okay.
No, it's Anya.
It's Enya. Okay, in the comments, is it Anya or Enya?
They don't even know what we're talking about because nobody listens to that anymore.
That's fine, but you know what I'm talking. The brooding, kind of it's you, it's me. It looks like anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
And I hate these like celebrity memes, but there is a good one that's out there, and it says like depression can look like this, and it's photos of a bunch of celebrities who have taken their life. And a lot of them are smiling and they're lovely and beautiful and I often hear this too. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you so much. So it's, what the hell was I going to say? I just got validated by someone because I pronounced Enya right. Now I've totally lost my train of thought. But please, that I hear from a lot of people about young people who take their lives. I can't believe it. He was the star quarterback.
Yeah.
She was prom queen.
She was
so beautiful. About. She was Right.
It's everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
I remember when I was 19 and I went to a support group for addicts, and it was my first step in like trying to get myself under control. And in that room, there was a lawyer, a mom. I mean, I was 19, so I wasn't really thinking like that. Like, like a soccer mom. She looked like the typical soccer mom. There was like a cashier at a restaurant. There was actually 2 homeless people. There was like an uncle-like person. And I remember like sitting there and being like, wow, we are all addicts right now. Every single one of us. And none of us look the same. Colors, race, gender, socio-demographic, all of it. It does not fit a mold. And this is part of what what I was talking about is that, you know, and I think kids are important to discuss because I said to them, you guys got to get pissed, man. You guys all should be angry
Yeah.
right now because you guys will move the needle. We won't, Gabe. You know, I'm older than you and we're not moving shit, you know.
Are you?
But these
You are right. I forgot that you were
50
for a
next
second.
month.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Um, I said to these kids, get pissed because we aren't doing you a service. We're failing you because we're not doing what we should be and talking about it and blah, blah, blah. But I said, you guys are all sitting here, right? And your parents screamed at you about getting this done and that done, and the biology test that you guys all keep talking about. Someone's failing that, and this one didn't do great on it, but this one did super wonderful on it, and this one's a star quarterback, and this
Well,
one, and
who
I was
cares?
like,
Who fucking cares?
that's exactly what I said. None of that matters. You guys are all human beings, and you all can suffer from depression, anxiety, or PTSD, or have suicidal thoughts. And just because you aren't right now, which is great if you're not, you may in the future. So listening to somebody's story cannot just educate you on how to handle it going forward, but if you are struggling with something, it may trigger you and say, wow, wait a minute. I remember someone told me about this and,
Right,
you know,
right.
I can, you know, but you know, the whole, I want to go back to the invisible illness thing because and this is no disrespect to anybody that helped me. I see my friend MC is commenting there and she, you know, she's helped me immensely. But, you know, I hospitalized myself a year before my cancer diagnosis. And I wasn't like quiet about it, but I wasn't like shouting it from the rooftops either at that time in my life. But people knew. And then I got cancer a year later. And when I got cancer, everybody was at my door with baked
Yeah.
goods and dinners and this and that. And I was like overwhelmed by it because I thought it was really nice that people were doing it. And then after, you know, about a year after my diagnosis, when I was told I was okay and blah, 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 I thought, shit, why didn't anybody help me like that when I hospitalized myself?
Well, let
No,
me tell
not
you,
one
yeah.
person. And that
Eh,
that's a problem. See, because we're
yeah.
not normalizing hospitalization. First of all, anyone that hospitalizes themselves, it's very difficult for your mind because you think the worst. Like, I can't believe I'm at this point. How did I get here? You know, you're just going on and on and on. You can't get it out of your head while you're in that spot. But you are taking the common sense to hospitalize yourself, which for me was very difficult. I had 4 young kids. I couldn't believe I was doing this. I did it though. Our facility is terrible. It's deplorable. We should be embarrassed. And lights on all day, all night, suicide watch, you know, dirty. It was terrible, but it was the best thing I ever did. So my point is you take this leap to take care of yourself and to stabilize your mental health, and nobody like supports you and says, wow, it was really great that you hospitalized yourself. I mean, I don't know what the right sentence is, but it's screwed up that we're not.
Well, so I've never been on that side of the glass, but I have been on the other side as an employee of a psychiatric hospital for 5 years. And I can tell you, AnnMarie, well, first of all, your description of the facility that you were in sounds just like you were describing where I used to work. And it's in a different state. And they're, you know
Right.
what, to varying degrees, they're all like that. Okay.
Absolutely.
That some are like a half step better, some are a half step worse, but there's a baseline of this is kind of what it is. This is what locked inpatient psychiatric care in
Yep.
America is. So nobody calls, nobody comes to visit. If they visit, the visits are supervised and scrutinized. They're uncomfortable for everybody. They're too short. They're scary. If you have children, the children aren't allowed in. It's prison. It's basically prison. Um, and it's traumatizing. So if you weren't
Mhm.
traumatized before,
Yeah.
we're sure going to traumatize you while you're there. You're going to be witnessing takedowns. You're going to be seeing, smelling, hearing frightening things. You have your identity taken from you. You're just given like an MR number on your little wristband.
Yep.
It's totally dehumanizing. Um, and yeah, it can save your life for sure, but you're going to be different afterwards.
100%. You
Um,
can't not be.
and you're different afterwards as an employee too. I'm not the same person I was before I started working at this place. Um, and it was incredibly damaging in a
Mm.
lot of ways. So, but I think, and so do we need to make improvements to inpatient psychiatric treatment? Oh my God, yes, absolutely. But what I will say is it is one way to save a life,
Mhm.
since that's the subject of this show. Um, But as they say, and as you were alluding to, mental illness and suicidality is not a casserole illness. Ain't
No.
nobody showing up with baked goods and cards and support, and they're not showing up at the hospital, and they're not certainly not showing up afterwards. And we don't want to talk about it. Oh, good, she's discharged. Everything's fine now. Well, it's not, because the 2 weeks after discharge from an inpatient psychiatric facility, you're at your highest risk for taking your own life. So that's when
Hmm.
you need people. That's when you need people. When the day you're home, you need people calling you, checking on you, texting you, dropping off with stuff. So it's people need to understand that. Like, we don't talk about it because we're uncomfortable, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so get uncomfortable.
But
That's
Gabe,
it's okay.
so one thing that I was talking about with the kids is I asked them point blank, if you get a Snapchat from a friend and they're crying and at the end of it it says like, I'm done, I just want to end this. What do you do? Almost all of them said, well, I don't want to pry in their business. I don't want to be too nosy. Almost all of them.
Or they're telling me in secret, so I have to keep their secret.
Yep. And then it was, oh, they're looking for attention. And I
Right.
mean, I went through all that, but that's not why I'm saying this. My point is we need to educate people what to do when they get a message like that, what exactly to do. And we need to take every single message like that serious, not
Right.
just, oh, they had a bad day. We take it seriously. Hey, what's going on that made you say that? If we can do that, okay. And then the next step is, what do I do afterwards? Okay, this person posted this or said this. Follow up. You got to follow
Mhm.
up. And if you can't do it, enlist somebody, talk to a friend of a friend, whoever that can connect it. This person hospitalized themselves. What do I do? There needs to be real education around this. And I'm not saying that, you know, the mighty is going to do that and NAMI's going to do that and the American Foundation of Suicide Prevent. Somebody needs to, though. And I don't just mean to these kids, parents.
Yeah.
There should be courses throughout the year that you can take at the library, at your, community center, wherever, that teach us how to handle it if our child, our friend, our loved one is going through mental health struggles that we've never gone through. What do we do? What's the protocol? What's the next step? Because let me tell you something. Everyone knows what to do when you get diagnosed with cancer. Up, we're going to bring her your casserole, and
Right.
this one was in a car accident. Let me drive her around. I mean, but we were educated on that. We learned how to do it. It's time to stop being scared to talk about this shit and start talking about it and teaching people how to handle these situations.
What we should be scared about is what happens when we don't talk about it. That
Exactly.
that's the scary thing.
I am
So,
so glad you said that, Gabe.
well, and it is changing. Like, I do see it changing a little bit. So, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, would that school have had you in to come talk? I don't know, probably not.
Probably not. I mean, I was pretty impressed that so they actually want me to come in now and talk to the whole school because they saw such an impact that it had. And this is really in defense of schools, and I'm saying this loosely. They're scared. And I understand that kids are dying and it is scary. It is freaking scary. I get it. But we're also failing our kids. So we need to try something different. And if any school out there tells, I know we're going to get a comment from someone saying their school does X, Y, and Z. I really don't want to hear it because
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
suicide rate is up by like 32% since it was back, 2 years ago. I'd have to pull my numbers up on my phone, but I do have them. Kids 10, like it was 12, now it's 10
Yeah.
is like the average number. We are failing. So don't tell me your school is doing great, because guess what? A school 2 doors over from you isn't. So we all need to figure out a plan. My point is, I fucking forgot my point.
That was great. Well, do you want me to just say something until you remember what your
Yeah,
point
because
was?
I'm never going to get it back.
Okay. So, yeah, schools are scared, and it's scary. And I think when you operate out of fear, you make big mistakes.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, you're scared as a school, and well, I don't want to bring in this person to talk about
Oh,
because I'm
I know what I was
scared,
going to say. Hold on,
whatever.
hold on, hold
Ah,
on, hold on.
shit. Okay, well, I guess I'll go ahead.
But you don't have chemo brain, so I
I
get to
know
go.
it's fine. Go.
Shit, I forgot it again.
I can't. I can't with you.
Oh no, I got it. I got
Go ahead.
it. Because this teacher, this principal, the administrators saw the actual effects of talking about suicide from shared experiences and how it positively affected their students. Part of the fear is if we talk about suicide, we're going to encourage
I know,
suicide.
yeah.
That's a load of crap. When you talk about it, it makes people feel less alone, which actually would decrease the number, not increase it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, and you're increasing, you're like making it again less scary by talking about it, right? It's normalizing it. It's normalizing saying the word suicide. It's normalizing the lifeline numbers there. It's normalizing that. When I was in college, I didn't know what the hell the lifeline was. I didn't know there was a number that you could call if you were in crisis. I
No
didn't
idea.
know. So that's the benefit of these things. It's letting you know that you're not alone. It's making the conversation okay and safe to have, which really conversations about anything should be okay and safe to have in the school environment, right? We should be encouraging people to talk, encouraging them to know about resources, encouraging them to know what to do. Like you said, if something happens, everyone knows how to put the goddamn condom on the banana by the time they're 14. They should sure as shit be knowing what to do if someone says, I want to take my own life.
Yeah,
That should be
100%.
part and parcel of it. Now, we do have programs like QPR, so question, persuade, refer. We do have mental health first aid, but they're like catch as catch can. Oh, it's at the local library next month. Oh, missed it. Oh well, okay. Where do I get it again? Well, they might be doing another training in 3 months. No, they need to be available for everyone all the time. So it's a funding issue. It's a resource issue. And it's also communities need to be demanding it.
Right.
Demand it.
And so everything that you're saying though, when I talk to these kids, none of them know how to handle somebody. If they think the schools think they know how to handle it, they don't. You
No.
give them a list of, look for these signs, wake up people, because if you actually are going to, complete the act, you're not going to give any sign because you don't want to you think you're unhelpable. So we need to go beyond those. We've already taught these kids the sign. Now we need to teach them to look deeper, and we need to figure out, who do I contact if there's an issue? Who can I tell? And I tell this story about what would you miss, and I'm gonna tell it really quickly. So a woman had reached out to me to tell me that her son has suffered with depression and suicidal ideations his entire life, that he has attempted twice, and she doesn't want to talk to him because she never went through anything like that. She's not a depressed person. So she saw What Would You Miss come up in her feed, and she could tell he was struggling one morning. And she started saying to him, whatever, I don't want to use his name, but I would miss you sitting there with your earbuds and cranking your music while you're eating cereal and not listening to me. And she went into this whole litany of things. I would miss the way that don't put your clothes away and just keep taking from the top pile. I can't remember the whole list, but a lot of it was things that she yelled at him for. I would miss the way you slam that door every day you leave for school. I would miss the way you never tell me where you are and I have to look at, find friends or whatever app she uses. The kid went to school, called his mother at about 11:30 and said, I need you to come and get me. I was going to kill myself this weekend. I thought I was a burden to you. I thought that all those things that you would miss about me, I thought that you would be happier if I wasn't here. I'm going to cry because I almost cry every time I say this. The mom went and got the kid. They brought him and got him help. My point is talking to these kids about stories like that. They sat there and they were crying because and I said, I'm sure your parents were yelling at you, pick up your socks, pick up your shirt. Why are you late? Did you do your homework? They're screaming at you all the time. Yep, parents do that. We're screwed up because we don't have a rule book. However, we would much rather be yelling at you for all those things that drive us crazy than listening to your eulogy. And when I say that out loud to a parent, guess what? You would much rather have an uncomfortable conversation with your kid than listen to their eulogy. My point is that if we don't talk, we are going to be listening to more eulogies than any of us want to.
Yeah. And these uncomfortable conversations to have are actually a privilege to be able to have with your children. Um, my my parents certainly didn't have them with me. Didn't have the vocabulary, didn't have the belief that it was okay. Just didn't have it just wasn't even in their minds that they could have these kind of conversations. And you can, and it's incredibly empowering to connect with your children in that way.
100%. And I think that is where I'm getting at, Gabe, because there's more people like our parents who didn't know how to talk that are our age, my age. They don't know how to talk to their kids. Why isn't there courses everywhere so people can take them and teach your kid, teach people how to talk to their kids, which in turn will teach their kids how to talk.
But what the one thing I want to say, and we've talked a lot about like training and QPR and assist and mental health first aid. There is no training course to help you not be an asshole. And
Well,
this
that's
is
true.
this is where I'm going with this. If you're an asshole, if you're a closed-minded, prejudiced, bigoted, judgmental, fuck your feelings kind of person, chances are people aren't going to feel safe opening up to you. Chances are people aren't going to feel safe being vulnerable around you.
Why would they?
People aren't going to feel safe sharing their feelings with you because, fuck your feelings, right? So if you are a parent and if you are just a human being on this earth, you have a moral responsibility to be a lovely person, to be a person who is open to hearing anything. If someone wants to come to you and say, I think I might be gay, I think I might be trans, I, you know,
What if I come to you and I say, I think I might be a unicorn?
well, I'd be like, I know you're a fucking unicorn.
Yes!
It's not news to me. But really, like, you can't be someone who says, yeah, I'm all about suicide prevention and I'll help you, but don't come to me if you're, whatever. No. You have to be open to anything.
Yeah.
And there's no course that's going to teach you that. And people gravitate towards warm, open, empathic, non-judgmental people. And if you want to prevent a suicide, that's where you start.
Just listening. The thing of it is, Gabe, everything you just said, I 100% agree with. Actually, my friend MC and I used to say all the time, like, once an asshole, always an asshole. No illness is going to change that on anybody. If that's who you are, that's who you are. But some people aren't meant to be to open up to. So you do need to find that person that you can open up to. And that isn't everybody. But if you are an asshole, maybe you could just close your mouth and just let the person talk.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Half the time, all somebody really needs is to get out what they're feeling and thinking. Get it out so it's not living inside of them anymore. And then they might be able to process it and move on to something else, or just being able to open it up and talk about it may encourage them to go talk to their doctor or a therapist or the crisis number. I hope you're reading all that because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see
I am, and I want to
anybody's
say something. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I okay to do that now?
Yeah, go for it.
So Sam, I'm going to read Sam's comment. The problem I'm having is I'm a parent, and when I'm mentally unwell, my son is is picking up on it, and now is in his early teens. So I've decided that those weekends I let my parents have him because I've heard it can transfer to your kids. So AnnMarie is a parent who lives with mental illness. I'm a parent who lives with mental illness, and I'm going to address this first. And AnnMarie, if you want to say anything,
go for it.
So I'm recently divorced. And I have my children 7 days, and my ex-wife has them 7 days. Okay. So the weekends that they're with me, right? They're with me whether I'm doing well. They're with me whether I'm doing really badly, or whether I'm kind of just baseline. And I have dysthymia, so that's chronic low-level depression. So my baseline is kind of like sort of feeling a little to the left of shit. My children are 10. They're twins. And what I can tell you is they know when I'm not doing well, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about it. I don't know how old your son is. You said he's in his early teens. So he's old enough, certainly, to notice. He's certainly old enough to talk with you and for you to talk with him. Son, this is what it's like when I'm not doing well. This is why I'm not doing well. It's got nothing to do with you. Here's what I think helps me. Here's some helpful things that you can say to me. I'm not giving you advice about like do or don't bring them to your parents. That's a personal choice of yours. And I don't fault you for whatever, but certainly talk, because he might be going through something similar, not because you quote transferred it to him. He's got his own stuff Do you know what I mean? Can depression be hereditary? Yeah. But I think one of the things I'm doing right as a parent, and there are plenty of things I'm not doing right, is just being open with my children. Um, they know why I take medication. They know what that phone number on the back of my car is. They know where I used to work. They know all of that stuff. Oh my God, guys, we got to get out of the house. Daddy, I know you have anxiety, but just chill, you know? Um, and Sam, the last thing I want to say, I understand you're worrying about scaring him. The shit that he's making up in his head is a lot scarier than
Mhm.
whatever reality is. Guarantee you. Go ahead, AnnMarie.
So, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, a friend of mine took all the pictures. She documented everything. And after my mastectomy, I sat down with my kids and I asked them if they wanted to see it. Some did, some didn't. My son Sam, coincidentally, said that he wanted to see them. And then I was like, okay, I opened them up and and they're raw, they're uncensored, they're pictures. And he said, no, I don't want them. Then he comes back, he says, yes, I want him. I show him the pictures and he says, oh, thank God. And I was like, thank God you're looking at my mastectomy. Like, where do you get thank God from? And he goes, I thought you were going to have 2 holes in your chest. My point is that he concocted an idea in his head because he was worried about his mother. Now, flip that. I started advocating when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And about a year after my diagnosis, when my doctor patted me on my back, told me I did great, I wasn't getting help that I needed. And I realized I had some underlying things going on because of my hospitalization the year before. And I decided to advocate in the mental health space. When I did that, I realized what I was doing for my kids. Sure, it's scary to hear that your mother has tried to kill herself. It's scary to hear that your mother lives, with suicidal thoughts. That is scary. But it made my kids check in on me. It made my
Mhm.
kids check in on themselves. It made them uber aware of their friends around them that were struggling. It made them advocates in their own mental health. I have a kid who lives with debilitating OCD and one who's bipolar. I need them to be advocating for themselves and to learn how to do it. So it's important for them to see that side of me. They've seen me sobbing, they've seen me in, in really difficult situations. It's not always been easy doing that. It's been very hard. And Sam, I feel you. Like there was times that I was like, God, am I ruining them? Nope. I'm making these super resilient, empathic, caring kids that are looking out for their friends, their parents, their cousins, whomever. So this is actually a great way to end this because we're talking about saving a life. And our kids, they're the next step, and being honest and sharing a little bit about them, about ourselves as we grow into, as they grow and we get older is really important. It really is. That's the first step in my mind. So, are you frozen, Gabe?
No.
Oh,
I was trying to trick you. It worked.
it totally worked. I was like, is he there? Well, I want to
Am
thank
I there? Who knows?
I don't know. I think that there's so much more work to be done. Gabe and I aren't going to do it by ourselves. The rest of the mental health community is not going to do it by themselves. We need people that that are affected by this and actually want to make a change. And I'm sorry, Gabe, I keep saying it, but I really believe it's the kids because they should be pissed. They should be pissed that we're still doing the same shit we were doing 10 years ago when, Gabe and I hospitalized ourselves, or I was hospitalized and Gabe was working, blah, blah, blah. Sharing Gabe's movie, A Beautiful Day Tomorrow, is a great way to bring the conversation to the forefront. It's funny, it's witty, it's just everything.
AnnMarie is in it, so that's another
Oh,
reason to watch
that's
it.
true. Using What
Say.
Would You Miss is also a great way to have a really hard conversation in a gentle way. Uh, Holidays are tough, you guys. Set boundaries, say no, focus on your mental health, check in with people no matter their strength, stay home when you want to, and be honest with how you're feeling. Seasonal affective disorder is real. Depression is at a peak right now. Pandemic's not helping. There are resources out there that can help you save your life and somebody else's.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say, yeah, as far as resources, we toot the horn of the Lifeline a lot, and it's up there in the crisis line. But there are also myriad warm lines that you can call. A lot of them are run by grassroots organizations like NAMI. Your local NAMI chapter most likely has a warm line. They have a peer support talk line. A lot of NAMI groups have alternatives to suicide groups that are meeting online over Zoom, which we all just love. There are mobile crisis units in lots of towns. There are alternatives to police response for mental health challenges. There's lots of other great things that are happening related to psychiatric emergencies and mental health response. There are options to choose from. Some of them are better than others, but crisis intervention starts well before the crisis. So be thinking about that. If you're okay now, that's great. That's the time when you should be thinking about what will I do when I'm not fine? Because being fine is not a constant. That can change. And last thing I
practice
want
all
to
that
say,
daily.
yeah, about the holidays, if you don't want to drink, don't fucking drink, and you don't have to tell anybody why. Just felt like mentioning that.
Word to your mother. And people who have parties should offer non-alcoholic drinks, but that's a whole nother conversation.
It is.
To save a life, I just want to end it with this. Save a life. What is one thing, Gabe? One thing that you would tell someone to save a life? What was one thing that we just talked about? What pops out at you?
One way to save a life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listening openly, being open to anything.
I love that. Listening doesn't take much. It really, really doesn't take much. So thank you guys so much for being part of our chat, and we will see you next month in 2022. So scared.
OMG.
OMG. Peace.
Bye.